Monday night in the French capital after what has been another glorious spring day. The Roland-Garros is in full swing and the fans, as ever, are out in force. Hello and welcome once again to Night and Day at Roland-Garros. You might be able to tell, and you'll see through the show, that it's a little bit windy, but the weather has been wonderful, perfect for tennis. Now our job over the course of the next 15 minutes or so is to round up the action and reaction from the day. So here for you is a little bit of what's taken place and what's to come. Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz make winning starts in Paris. French #1 Caroline Garcia fights through to round 2. And the stage is set for the first Roland-Garros night session of 2023. And opening up that night session, that man there, the 8th seed from Italy, Jannik Sinner. Now, he arrived on site at around 4:30 this afternoon, ahead of his match against the Frenchman, Alexander Muller. That'll be taking place on Philippe Chatrier behind me. The roof is open, of course it is. There's the wind that you can see, but the sun is still shining and the sky is still clear. Now, the action continues as they prepare Philippe Chatrier for the arrival of the players in around 20 minutes' time. And we're going to check in on a match over on Court Simone Mathieu between Arthur Fils, who's currently serving the Frenchman. He's a wild card, recently won the title in Lyon. He's taken on Alejandro Davidovich Fokina. Now, Fils was a break-up in the 4th set. Davidovich Fokina has broken back, and as you would expect, there is an excellent atmosphere on what is a fantastic court here at Roland-Garros, and we'll keep you up to date with that match over the course of the show. Now, there were 48 matches in total on the schedule. It was a great schedule. We're going to break things down for you, and we're going to start with the men's draw, and we're going to start with the two-time Roland-Garros champion, Novak Djokovic. Looking for Grand Slam title number 23. It was an 86th Roland-Garros win, taking on Alexander Kovacevic, the American who idolized Djokovic as he was growing up, who was making his Grand Slam main draw debut. But Djokovic 19-0 in Roland-Garros first round. He last lost a Grand Slam first round in 2006 in Australia. He did come into press, and afterwards he spoke about his mindset and his tactics.
You know, of course I want to dominate whoever I play against, regardless of the circumstances and who is across the net. But, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think I played really well and held things under control for 2.5 sets, and then, you know, lost my serve, and things got a little bit on the wrong side for me. But, you know, I managed to hold my nerves and played pretty much a perfect tiebreak. And so overall, pleased and content with my level. You know, I can always play better. I know I can do it, but considering also the conditions that were quite tricky today with a lot of wind, it was a good match.
Now, a short while ago, the world #1 Carlos Alcaraz came through in straight sets against Flavio Cobolli, the qualifier from Italy, just 20 years of age. Alcaraz, he is now 31-3 for the season. He's got 4 titles, quarter-finalist here last year, and top seed at a Grand Slam for the very first time. This is just his 3rd appearance at Roland-Garros. There were some hot shots throughout the course of the first 2 sets. The first 2 sets lasted an hour for the Spaniard, who got the job done. And then once the match was won and he'd applauded the crowd, he spoke on court and gave his thoughts to Mats Wilander.
It's great to play here, you know. This is my first time at Suzanne and Glen. I enjoy. It's been a great court, and yeah, I enjoy playing here. Such a great energy from the crowd. You know, I really wanted to play here and come back with a great level. So as I said, I really enjoy playing here my first round.
Yeah.
Upset of the day saw Felix Auger-Aliassime, the 10th seed, fall in straight sets to the veteran Fabio Fognini, who recently turned 36. Now, it's a first top 10 win at Roland-Garros for the Italian. He was 0-5 before this, and a last top 10 win for him before this was October 2019. Now, Auger-Aliassime said he was sick all last night. He was cramping after the first set, had difficulty moving, and he is struggling with knee and shoulder issues, but take nothing away from the win from that man there, Fabio Fognini. It's always good to see Dominic Thiem out and fighting, been through some horrendous injuries. It looked like he was down and out against Pedro Cachin, the Argentinian, after just 2 sets. But Thiem fought his way back. There was an unbelievable atmosphere as he was taking on the world number 64. Thiem a runner-up here in 2018, but Cachin had opportunities to get it done before the 5th. He finally was able to close it out, matching his best at Roland-Garros, which was the 2nd round last year. That match lasted over 3.5 hours, and I'm sure Dominic Thiem will be looking to take the positives from that 5-setter, but it is the Argentinian that marches through and marches on to round 2. If we're talking about atmospheres, then it was on Susan Longland on the first match today. Cameron Norrie against Benoit Paire, an absolute cracker of a match. Norrie moving to 17-6 on the clay in 2023. He was 2-4 down in the 5th set. He completed the great escape. We saw some wondrous tennis from Benoit Paire. We saw some uncharacteristic errors from the British number 1, but Norrie was able to settle himself. He was fighting the play, he was fighting the crowd, but he got the job done. Look at that face of Cameron Norrie, delighted to have come through in 5. We had a lot of 5-setters taking place today. How about this for the 2015 Roland-Garros champion Stan Wawrinka, 38 years of age, up against another veteran, Albert Ramos Vinolas. They were out on court 14 and a first Grand Slam win since the 2021 Australian Open for Wawrinka, a first Roland-Garros win since 2020. 4 hours and 35 minutes this contest lasted. Only 2 former champions in the men's draw, and both through to round 2. And in the 2nd round, Stan Wawrinka will face Thanasi Kokkinakis. It was an absolute cracker. So that was how things have shaken out as the wind continues to blow here at Roland-Garros. But we have this wonderful view of Philippe Chatrier behind me, where they're starting to build up to the action that starts in around 15 minutes' time. So having checked in with the men's draw, let's move to the women's draw. And really only a short while ago, on the court behind me, the French number 1, Caroline Garcia, who's the 5th seed, the French number 1, fought her way through against Wang of China. This one swayed this way and that, and even deep into the 3rd set, you still didn't know who was going to come through. Garcia is the first French woman to be a top 5 seed at Roland-Garros since Amélie Mauresmo in 2007. Absolutely delighted with that victory. She's won her last 8 first rounds at Roland-Garros, but it was tough. We are flying with Caro, but she was made to work for it, but she is through to round 2. Another seed fell in Belinda Bencic, Elena Aviessian, who's 20 years of age. She is a lucky loser, got the biggest win of her career in her first career Grand Slam main draw win. Up against Bencic's shoulder, you can see they're heavily strapped. Her first match since Charlton 2 months ago, but the Russian had won an ITF tournament on the clay earlier this month, so she had the match practice, and she was able to pull it out and pull through against Belinda Bencic to move through to round 2. Big smile on the young lady's face. There was also going to be a big smile on Elena Svitolina's face, because she would come through against the 26th seed Martina Trevisan. Trevisan is semi-finalist from last year, so her ranking will now drop the Italian. Svitolina 10-0 first round at Roland-Garros, off the back of her title run in Strasbourg, her first title since 2021, and it's her first Grand Slam win since returning to the tour. She's on a 6-match win streak. She was absolutely delighted, as you can see there, to get the win. Straight sets, comfortably done. And she gave us her thoughts on court after the win.
For sure, it's extremely special for me to get the first win of the Grand Slam here at Roland-Garros, and I always have amazing memories playing here in front of great people and great fans. So I'm just, really, really happy with the way I played today, and just looking forward to the next one.
Lovely smile from Elena Svitolina, and starting things off, what a performance from Sloane Stephens. We know how she can play when she was on, and she was on today. The 2018 finalist here at Roland-Garros, quarter-finalist from last year, She's now 11-1 in first rounds at these championships. Former US Open champion, of course, coming through against the 16th seed Karolina Pliskova for the loss of just 4 games. And she said afterwards, Sloane Stephens, that Philippe Chatrier is my favourite court in the whole wide world. So they are your highlights from the matches that have been completed. Now, we really enjoyed reading yesterday your picks for the shot that you thought stood out from day one. So take a little look at the shot that we have picked for day 2.
Zero.
I hope you're enjoying the entertainment that you can hear and maybe see behind me. It's about getting the night session crowd ready for the players to come on court, and they're going to be out here in about 10 minutes' time. So this is not live. This was taken earlier, and this is Jannik Sinner. He has the honour and he has the privilege of opening things up on Philippe Chatrier for the first official night session. Night sessions running through up until and including the quarterfinals. So they'll be deep in the bowels of Philippe Chatrier right now, preparing themselves for what's to come. Now, if you were with us last night, you would have had our first taste of Never Have I Ever. It was our chance to speak to some of the players pre-tournament. So in your second dose of that, there was an awful lot of talk about Googling.
Chapeau.
I have once. Good feeling, yes. Toronto, Paris, I remember.
No, I mean, most of the time I buy the ticket, so I'm already like at the front. Yeah, a lot. Sometimes I'm like, and they know that I'm mad.
I do, of course. Everybody does, I think.
We did not do that.
Especially for my book, actually. You know, I published a novel last year.
I have. Yeah, that's in the recent past, I think, more when you're young. I think in media maybe start to write about you for the first time.
Of course I did.
No, not a lot.
Recently?
Not a lot today. Yesterday. Okay. Few times.
There's a lot of people watching that, wondering if they have Googled themselves and how recently they have Googled themselves. There'll be more from Never Have I Ever throughout the course of the championships. But as we mentioned, tonight is the first official night session of Roland-Garros 2023. Yeah, lovely. And confirmation of what's coming up in around 8 minutes' time. Jannik Sinner against Alexander Muller. Now, it's the third appearance for the Frenchman at Roland-Garros. It's just a fourth for Jannik Sinner. He is the 8th seed, and it's going to be an intriguing clash as the spectators continue to make their way into Philippe Chatrier and continue to be entertained. Now, we wanted to get to know the players a little bit, so let's take a closer look at Jannik Sinner, the man from San Candido in Italy.
Jannik Sinner.
Really happy to be here. A very special tournament. I think it was my first quarterfinals in a Grand Slam, so happy to be back here and hopefully I can show some good tennis. Just enjoy, no, it's all about that.
Now, now a little bit earlier, out on court 3, the Frenchman Alexander Muller was going through his final practice ahead of facing Yannick Sinner this evening on Philippe Chatrier. Now, in 2023, he's reached the final of Marrakesh and a quarter-final at Doha, so some good form this year. As I mentioned, it's a third appearance for him. He actually says he was better at football when he was growing up, but he decided to stick with tennis. He's a massive Marseille fan. He says his favourite shot is his forehand pass. He loves the clay that's going to be handy for this evening. And for a little bit of random information about Alexander Muller, his favourite school subject was maths. I can't say it was mine, but it was Muller's, so we'll see how he gets on this evening against Yannick Sinner. Now, before we bring you the lineup for tomorrow, as the crowd continue to get warmed up ahead of the players arriving, we have had a conclusion to the match on court Simone Mathieu. And it is Alejandro Davidovich Fekina. Remember, Artur Fils, he had the break in the fourth set, but it is the Spaniard that gets the job done to come through. Artur Fils, so many positives, a wild card into Roland-Garros, but recently won the title at Lyon. And it was a really entertaining match. The crowd thoroughly enjoyed it, but it is Alejandro Davidovich Fekina who makes his way through, takes the applause of the crowd. He is in to round 2. So today has been an absolute cracker in terms of the order of play. So let's run through some highlights for you on the 3 main show courts tomorrow. Starting with Philippe Chatrier, it's 11:45 start local time. And on Jabeur, first round exit for Jabeur last year, playing on the Sunday. So Jabeur in action with no points to defend. Then Daniil Medvedev, number of people tipping him to come through the bottom half to the final, even win the title. And then Iga Swiatek also in action, the world #1. And Gaël Monfils will have the night session honour tomorrow evening. That'll be a wonderful atmosphere, as always with the night sessions. Looking over to Susan Longland, Casper Ruud. A lot of eyes on Ruud. The form has been a little bit up and down, also with Coco Gauff. And then a young lady who's in great form at the moment, Elena Rybakina, the Wimbledon champion, who's been scooping up titles this year. And then Richard Gasquet rounds things off. And looking at court, Simone Mathieu had some great matches out there. I think 2 that stand out. The look at Holger Rune. Some people actually tipped Rune to go all the way and win the title in the bottom half of the draw, and Medvedev's half the draw. But a match that stood out as soon as the draw was made was Victoria Azarenka against Bianca Andreescu. And once again, tomorrow evening on Night and Day at Roland-Garros, we'll keep you up to date with absolutely everything. But with the players not far from making their way out here onto Philippe Chatrier, just the final few words from their coaches, putting the final few things in their kit bags. They'll be making their way through the corridor. They'll be making their way up the stairs and out onto Philippe Chatrier. If you'd like to follow the action, you can do so via the website, our social media channels, and we will have ball-by-ball coverage of the night session on Radio Roland-Garros that you can find on the web. But we hope you've enjoyed the show, and I do hope you join us at the same time tomorrow. Bye for now.